What if I told you that the most significant, irreversible, and transformative event of your entire existence isn't waiting for you in some distant future, nor is it a memory buried in your past, but is, in fact, unfolding in the silent, charged space between this word and the next? The very act of your consciousness, your focused awareness, moving across this line of text is not a passive act of reading. It is an act of creation, a powerful catalyst that is, in this exact moment, collapsing infinite waves of probability and initiating a profound and permanent reorganization of your entire quantum field. This isn't simply a New Age concept or a philosophical treatise you are absorbing. It is a direct transmission of a specific catalytic frequency, an energetic key being delivered directly to the core of your being, designed to alter your consciousness at a level so fundamental it precedes thought itself. You're not learning something new, you're being activated. Imagine your consciousness as a tuning fork that has been vibrating at a standard consensus frequency for your entire life, a frequency dictated by your upbringing, your culture, and the limitations you believed were real. These words are a sound, a resonant tone broadcast from the heart of existence, striking your tuning fork and causing it to vibrate at its true, original, and infinitely more powerful harmonic. This is not a process that begins after you finish reading. The process is the reading. The shift is not a destination. It is the journey through this very sentence. It is an immediate and irrevocable event happening right now. And the proof is the subtle yet undeniable feeling building within you, a sense of recognition, a feeling of coming home to a truth you always knew but had forgotten how to articulate. Pause for a moment, right here. Can you feel it? A subtle hum beneath the surface of your thoughts, a quickening in your energy field, a sense of momentous significance that your logical mind might be scrambling to dismiss. Do not dismiss it. That feeling is the first echo of your own limitless nature calling back to you. You must understand that your arrival here at this precise moment in space-time to receive this transmission was not an accident, a random click in a sea of digital noise. It was an exquisitely orchestrated inevitability. Your own quantum field, the intelligent, energetic blueprint of your being that extends far beyond your physical body, has been meticulously arranging synchronicities, aligning circumstances, and guiding events to deliver you to this exact point at the one moment your consciousness was perfectly calibrated to receive it. Think back. Consider the chain of seemingly unrelated events that led you here. The random conversation, the book that fell off the shelf, the sudden, inexplicable curiosity that guided your search, the intuitive pull that made you click this link instead of scrolling past. That was not you. That was your higher awareness, your true self operating beyond the veil of the conscious mind, detecting the catalytic frequencies embedded within this transmission, the precise vibrational toolkit required to trigger the profound transformation your entire life, every joy and every sorrow has been preparing you for. It was a lock and key moment. Your entire existence has been the process of forging a unique key, and this transmission is the lock you were always destined to find. The feeling wasn't just a whim, it was a resonance, a deep, soul level recognition of a signal that promised to unlock the cage and set you free. Have you ever had a moment where you just knew you had to do something, even if it made no logical sense, a powerful, gut level certainty that guided your hand. That is the same intelligence that brought you here, the silent navigator of your soul, and it has delivered you to the threshold you have been unknowingly seeking your entire life. This is not a coincidence. It is a cosmic appointment you scheduled for yourself before you even took your first breath in this reality. And what is the nature of this monumental shift that is now underway within your very cells? It is the grand, beautiful, and perhaps slightly terrifying paradox of it all. This is not about you becoming something new, something better, something more enlightened. It is, instead, about you courageously and completely recognizing what you have always been, a truth that has been temporarily forgotten, veiled by the hypnotic trance of identifying solely with your physical form and the story attached to it. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are an infinite spiritual being, consciousness itself, having a temporary and exquisitely unique human experience. You are the universe waking up to its own existence through the lens of your eyes, the touch of your hands, the thoughts in your mind. Imagine a vast, limitless ocean that has, for a moment, forgotten it is the ocean and believes itself to be a single, separate, vulnerable wave. The wave strives. It fears crashing upon the shore. It competes with other waves. It feels isolated and alone. The awakening, this quantum shift, is the moment the wave remembers its true nature. It is, and always has been, the entire ocean. Nothing is lost except the illusion of separation and the suffering that illusion creates. But you must understand the urgency of this moment, this window of opportunity, this period where your energetic field is maximally receptive to this remembrance, does not remain open indefinitely. The universe is presenting you with a passage, a quantum tunnel, from your current state of perceived limitation to the direct, lived experience of awakened recognition. That passage is not in the future. It is available to you right now. It is a choice, a letting go, a surrender into the truth that is already vibrating at the core of your being. Will you take the step? Will you dare to remember who you truly are? Perhaps this all sounds abstract, like a beautiful fantasy disconnected from the concrete reality of your daily life. But the signs, the evidence of this profound shift, have already been appearing to you, bubbling up from the depths of your subconscious and bleeding through the cracks in the consensus reality you once took for granted. Think about your perception of time. Have you not experienced profound time anomalies recently? Moments where hours spent in a creative flow or a deep conversation felt like mere minutes, a phenomenon your logical mind dismisses as getting lost in the moment, but which is, in fact, proof that your consciousness is beginning to untether itself from the rigid, linear construct of past, present, and future, and is starting to operate in the eternal now of the quantum field. Conversely, have you experienced moments of intense presence where a single second seems to stretch into an eternity? These are not tricks of the mind. They are signals that you're accessing a more fundamental reality. And what about the reality glitches? Those fleeting, inexplicable moments that make you question the solidity of the world around you. A momentary pause in the ambient sound of a busy street, as if the universe held its breath. The distinct feeling of déjà vu, not just a vague familiarity, but a crystal clear sense of having lived a moment before, frame for frame. Or perhaps you've witnessed an object in your peripheral vision that simply isn't there when you turn to look, or you've had a clear memory of a conversation that the other person swears never happened. These are not signs of madness. They are the beautiful, thrilling evidence that reality is not a fixed, solid, external thing. It is a dynamic, fluid, and malleable projection, a vibrant tapestry constantly being woven and rewoven by consciousness collapsing infinite waves of probability into what we perceive as manifestation. You are not a passive observer of a pre existing world. You are the dreamer, dreaming the dream, and you are starting to wake up within it. This emerging connection to a deeper reality is also manifesting as a radical shift in how you access and process information. Have you experienced spontaneous downloads of complex information? Perhaps you were in the shower or driving your car, your mind quiet for once, and suddenly a profound insight into a complex problem at work, a clear understanding of a difficult relationship dynamic, or even a sudden burst of artistic inspiration landed fully formed in your awareness, complete with details you couldn't possibly have known logically. This is your consciousness beginning to gain direct, unfiltered access to the quantum field, the universal information database, where all knowledge, all creativity, and all solutions exist in a state of pure potential, simply waiting for a receptive mind to tune into them. Concurrently, and perhaps more startlingly, you have likely noticed that the time delay between your thoughts and their physical manifestation has decreased dramatically. The buffer is gone. This is an incredible feedback mechanism designed to make you hyper aware of the creative power of your own mental and emotional patterns. Think of a person and they call within minutes, worry about a bill, and an unexpected expense appears. Focus on gratitude and joy, and synchronicities of abundance and connection begin to flow into your life with breathtaking speed. This acceleration is a form of training, a cosmic boot camp for creators. It forces you to take radical responsibility for your inner state, because your inner state is no longer a private, personal experience. It is the direct and immediate command prompt for the reality you are generating around you. Both your most cherished dreams and your deepest fears are now materializing with unprecedented velocity, compelling you to become a master of your focus. Where are you placing your attention? Because where your attention goes, energy flows and reality is built. This transformation is not just a mental or metaphysical event. It is a deeply physical, cellular upgrade. Your very relationship with your body is undergoing a fundamental and radical change. You are likely experiencing new and unusual physical sensations, a feeling of energy buzzing or vibrating through your limbs, sudden waves of heat or cold that have no environmental cause, a tingling sensation at the crown of your head, or a deep humming vibration in your chest. This is not sickness. It is your physical vessel being recalibrated to hold a higher frequency of consciousness. You are beginning to experience your body not as a dense, solid machine that contains your consciousness, but as a fluid, energetic field of light and information that consciousness is experiencing itself through. The old paradigm of being a ghost in a machine is dissolving, replaced by the direct, lived recognition that you are the conscious, animating presence, and the body is your miraculous sensory interface with this dimension. Furthermore, this upgrade is allowing you to access information beyond the confines of this single lifetime. You may be experiencing bleed throughs from other timelines or parallel realities. This can manifest as sudden, unearned skills, a surprising aptitude for a language you never studied, an innate understanding of a complex musical instrument, or a sudden proficiency in a craft you've never tried. It can also appear as vivid memories of places you've never been, or deep, resonant feelings for people you've just met. This isn't just your imagination running wild, it is your consciousness beginning to integrate the wisdom, skills, and experiences of your other selves, pulling you magnetically toward the optimal, most fully realized version of your life that already exists as a perfected blueprint in the quantum field. You are not just evolving, you are consolidating, becoming the grand sum of all your potentials. As you stand on the precipice of this great unfolding, you might look back at your life, at the path that led you here, and see a trail of struggle, pain, and hardship. It is a natural human tendency to view these experiences as mistakes, punishments, or signs of failure. But from this new, higher perspective, you are invited to understand the profound and sacred purpose of every difficult moment you have ever endured. Your suffering was not a cosmic error. It was a deliberate and courageous exploration by consciousness itself. Consciousness, in its infinite and unlimited nature, chose to experience the full spectrum of reality, and to truly know its own light, it had to first explore the deepest shadows. It chose to dive into density to experience the illusion of limitation, separation, and powerlessness in order to fully appreciate and reclaim its own boundless, sovereign nature. Your hardships were not meant to break you. They were the necessary catalyst designed to crack you open. Every heartbreak, every failure, every moment of despair was a precision engineered event that chipped away at the false shell of the ego, the limited identity you thought you were. These experiences were the pressure that forced you to seek a truth beyond the superficial comforts of consensus reality. They were the cosmic roadblocks that closed off paths that would have led to lesser, more compromised expressions of your magnificent potential. Your pain was not a punishment, it was a purification by fire. It was the alchemical process that burned away everything that was not your true self, leaving you hollowed out, humbled, and finally ready to be filled with the light of your own being. Can you look back now, even at the darkest moments, and see the hidden grace, the perfect guiding intelligence that was always leading you toward this very moment of awakening? Your entire spiritual journey up to this point, every book you've read, every teacher you've listened to, every meditation practice you've undertaken, every workshop you've attended has been an essential part of this grand design. Each one provided you with a single, valuable piece of a vast and intricate puzzle. Yet, you may have noticed a persistent feeling of incompleteness, a sense that no matter how much you learned, there was always something missing, a final key that remained just out of reach. This feeling of incompleteness was not a sign of your failure. It was a crucial and intentional part of the process. It was a divine safety mechanism, a sacred dissatisfaction designed to prevent you from stopping your search prematurely before all the necessary components for your activation could be gathered and assembled. If any single teacher or system had given you the whole truth, you would have become comfortable. You would have stopped seeking, and your journey of self-discovery would have been cut short. The universe needed you to keep gathering the fragments, to keep exploring, to keep questioning until you had curated the precise and unique constellation of insights necessary for your own personal breakthrough. This present moment, this very act of receiving this transmission, is the culmination of that entire lifelong preparation. It is the moment where all those disparate fragments, the wisdom from the mystic, the insight from the scientist, the lesson from the heartbreak, the strength from the struggle, are suddenly and spontaneously organizing themselves into a coherent, complete, and stunningly beautiful picture. The space that was cleared by your years of seeking and letting go is now being filled, allowing for a full, direct, and permanent activation of the truth of your being. The puzzle pieces are flying together, and the image they are revealing is the radiant face of your own true self. As this profound reorganization takes place, there is a palpable charge building in your energy field, an undeniable sense of immense pressure, a feeling of imminence that can be both exhilarating and deeply unsettling. It is a feeling that signals an inevitable phase. Transition is approaching, a state change as fundamental as water reaching its boiling point just before it transforms into steam. You might feel restless, agitated, as if you're waiting for a starting gun to fire or a storm to break. Please understand, this feeling of mounting pressure is not a sign of impending destruction or breakdown. It is the sacred and powerful contraction of rebirth. It is the cosmic pressure pushing you to emerge from the confining womb of your old, limited identity and to take your first breath in a new, expanded reality. Just as a chick must struggle to break free from its shell, you are now being pushed to shatter the confines of the person you have always believed yourself to be. However, and this is the most critical point, for this breakthrough to complete itself, it requires your conscious participation. It requires a choice. It demands your willingness to cooperate with the process, to surrender to the dissolution, to consciously and courageously let the old paradigm of who you think you are die. The ego, the story of me, will not go quietly. It will sense its own impending demise, and it will fight. It will bargain. It will create fear and doubt and confusion to maintain its illusion of control. The choice before you now is this: will you cling to the familiar shores of your known limited self, or will you release your grip and allow the powerful current of your own evolution to carry you into the vast unknown ocean of your true being? Let me step out of the role of a guide for a moment and speak to you from the raw, vulnerable truth of my own experience, because this is not a theoretical process for me. I remember my own spontaneous quantum shift with a clarity that eclipses all other memories. It wasn't in a monastery or during a deep meditation. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon, driving a beat-up sedan on a nondescript stretch of highway. The sun was glaring off the asphalt. The radio was playing some forgotten pop song, and in the space of a single, silent instant, the sense of I, the narrator in my head, the central character I had believed myself to be for my entire life, completely and utterly shattered. It didn't fade. It vanished like a soap bubble popping. What was left was not blackness or emptiness, but an explosion of pure, vibrant, impersonal awareness. There was the seeing of the road, the hearing of the engine, the feeling of the steering wheel, but there was no one there doing the seeing, hearing, or feeling. Reality was experiencing itself directly, without a middleman, without a separate self. And in the immediate aftermath of that silent, blissful explosion came a wave of the most profound and overwhelming existential terror I have ever known. As the machinery of the mind rebooted, the person construct, the ego, fought desperately to rebuild itself. It screamed, "I'm dying. I'm disappearing. Who am I if not my thoughts and memories?" This destabilization, this period of feeling utterly groundless and terrified, was not a mistake. It was the most necessary and crucial passage of the entire journey. It was the direct, visceral experience that revealed the profound truth. The person I thought I was is an optional construct, a temporary pattern of thought and energy, not the fundamental reality of my being. The fear was the final illusion, the ghost in the machine fighting to convince me that its own survival was my survival. It was only by passing through that fire of annihilation that I could be reborn into the peace that lies beyond the person. This brings us to the core, the absolute heart of this entire quantum shift, the ultimate revelation that all of this has been leading to. It is the single most liberating, world altering truth you will ever realize. This is not you awakening, it is consciousness waking up from the dream of being you. The entire sense of being a separate individual, a little me, locked inside a body, navigating a vast and indifferent world, is a masterful and convincing illusion. It is a beautiful, intricate, and ultimately fictional story that consciousness created in order to experience limitation, to play a game of hide and seek with itself. Take a moment, right now, and try to find the thinker of your thoughts. Look for the entity, the central I, who is having this experience. You can be aware of a thought, but who is it that is aware of the thought? When you look for that thinker, what do you find? You find only more thoughts. You find memories, sensations, beliefs, but you will never, ever find a solid, central entity at the core. The yes person you believe yourself to be has never existed as anything more than a bundle of thoughts, a story woven together by memory and belief, a pattern held in place by the constant, unexamined assumption of its own reality. This is not a loss. It is the greatest discovery possible. You are not the character in the story. You are the author, the pages, and the silent, aware space in which the entire story is unfolding. The dream character isn't becoming enlightened. Consciousness is simply waking up from its total absorption in the drama of that one character's life. The immediate and profound consequence of this revelation is a liberation so total it defies description. When you see, truly see, that the separate individual self is an illusion, what is there left to fear? You lose absolutely nothing real. You only lose the heavy, burdensome illusion of being a limited, vulnerable, and mortal person who is constantly plagued by anxiety, insecurity, and the deep, abiding fear of annihilation. In its place, you gain the direct, lived recognition of your true nature as the infinite, invulnerable, and eternal consciousness in which all things arise and subside. Since awareness itself cannot be harmed, threatened, or destroyed, fear loses its very foundation. Ask yourself, who is the one who could be afraid? Who is the one who could be judged, who could fail, who could be hurt. When you look for this one, you find only a ghost, a construct of thought. All suffering is rooted in a case of mistaken identity. You have been believing yourself to be the fragile avatar in the game, when in reality, you are the untouchable player. This doesn't mean your body can't experience pain or that your life won't have challenges, but the story of suffering, the psychological anguish created by the ego taking things personally, dissolves completely. The sufferer is seen to be non existent, and in that seeing, a profound and unshakable peace that is not dependent on external circumstances is revealed as your natural state. As this shift deepens and stabilizes within you, there are clear and immediate signals that confirm the process is completing itself. You will begin to notice that reality itself feels different, less solid, more transparent and dreamlike, as you start to perceive its true nature as a vibrant, shimmering appearance happening within the vast, open space of your own consciousness. The world is no longer out there, it is in here. Consequently, the problems and dramas that once felt so heavy, so urgent, and so intensely personal begin to lose their emotional charge. They are still perceived, but they are no longer imbued with the power to define your state of being, because the prouder person who had those problems is being seen through as a fictional character. The space between your thoughts, the silent gaps of pure, objectless awareness will become more frequent and more noticeable. You will find yourself resting in this silent presence more and more, and this presence becomes the source of your peace and wisdom. Furthermore, your fundamental motivation for action begins to shift. The ego's desperate, fear based need for achievement, validation, and control begins to fall away, replaced by the natural, joyful, and effortless impulse of consciousness for authentic expression, creativity, and connection. You no longer act to get something from the world. You act as an overflowing of the love and intelligence that you now know yourself to be. Be aware that there is an urgent and powerful window for this transformation that is open to you right now. The cosmic energies and the collective momentum of the planetary shift are creating a powerful tailwind, a spiritual slipstream that makes a full and permanent breakthrough possible with a minimum of personal effort. To resist now, to cling to the old patterns of fear, doubt, and cynicism, is to try and swim upstream against a powerful evolutionary current. It means missing this wave and delaying a process that is, in the end, inevitable. The key to completing this shift, the only effort required, lies in your radical willingness to surrender. It is the choice to release the mind's compulsive need to know, to define, and to control, and to instead rest in the deep, silent mystery of being. Let go of the search for who you are. Stop trying to figure it out. Awakening is not something that happens to a person. It is the final, liberating recognition that the person you thought you had to save, heal, or improve was never real to begin with. Surrender is not a passive act of giving up. It is an active and courageous embrace of the unknown, a deep trust in the intelligence of the universe, and a final letting go of the illusion of control. It is the simple, profound act of getting out of your own way and allowing the grace of your own being to complete its work. And what does life look like in the aftermath once this quantum shift has stabilized and become your new baseline reality? It is a state of being that the mind can scarcely comprehend. Suffering, as you have known it, ends. Not because life becomes a perfect, problem free utopia, but because there is no longer a central sufferer, no personal self to take events personally and weave them into a story of victimhood. The constant, low grade background hum of anxiety that accompanies the life of the separate self simply dissolves, replaced by a deep, abiding, and unconditional peace that is your natural state. Unconditional love ceases to be a noble goal to strive for and becomes the very air you breathe, the natural outflow of your recognition of the oneness of all things. The fear of death, the ego's ultimate terror, vanishes completely as you recognize your true nature as the eternal, formless awareness in which the body is but a temporary and precious appearance. Life ceases to be a struggle, a problem to be solved, and becomes an effortless and spontaneous flow of cosmic intelligence expressing itself through the unique form that is you. You become a conduit for a wisdom, creativity, and love that is far beyond the capacity of the personal mind. You do not have to think about what to do or say. You simply respond perfectly in the moment to the needs of the situation. This is not a loss of self. It is the discovery of a self so vast, so intelligent, and so loving that it encompasses the entire universe. Finally, you must know that your personal quantum shift is not a solitary event for your benefit alone. It is a vital and integral part of a much larger planetary evolution of consciousness. Every single individual who awakens from the dream of separation contributes powerfully to a collective morphic field of awakening, making it exponentially easier and more accessible for all of humanity to do the same. Your role in this grand planetary healing is not to go out and preach or try to save the world. Your role is simply to live authentically and fully from this profound recognition of your true nature. Your very presence, the silent vibration of peace and love that you will naturally emanate, becomes a powerful catalyst for change, a resonant frequency that will help awaken others who are ready to receive it. This collective awakening is the ultimate key to healing the fundamental delusion of separation, the belief that we are separate from each other, from nature, and from our source, which is the root cause of all the greed, conflict, and suffering we see in the world. You are not just healing your own life, you are a pioneer, a way shower, and an anchor for a new reality, a new earth founded on the principles of unity, love, and conscious creation. The most profound thing you can do for the world is to realize the truth of who you are. Are you ready to embrace your role in this magnificent collective unfolding? The journey is vast, but it happens in a single, surrendered instant. The implications are cosmic, but it begins with a simple, personal choice. All the wisdom, all the power, all the love you have ever sought in the world outside yourself is waiting for you right here, right now, in the silent, aware space of your own being. The search is over. The time for remembrance is now. Until we perceive each other again in the grand and beautiful tapestry of consciousness, I wish you profound peace on your journey and the courage to embrace the magnificent truth of who you are. Be well, be aware, and if this transmission has resonated with the truth in your heart, don't forget to click that subscribe button to continue this journey of discovery together.